Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World. This is your Cardiff City versus Middlesbrough preview, and delighted to welcome you to Ace Podcast Nation headquarters. And I'm joined by these two behemoths of men, legends, some would say. But,
True story.
They are here. It's the Flower Hour. They are here. It's Matthew Angel, Robert Boyle.
Hello, beautifuls.
The face, the moneymaker, as Robert described himself earlier.
He is the moneymaker, you're absolutely right.
But they've been, so straight away dipping into the game, because we don't want to be here all night doing this preview. But some injury news for Cardiff's injury list in the last 2 weeks has been insane, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Just out of the blue, just boom.
Yeah, I think come the end of the season, you kind of expect to have certain injuries, don't you? But I think what we got 13, 14 first team players out injured. Obviously, Maytay's been added to the list this week. I'm pretty sure Bulut have come back and said Wilson and Robinson and
Bowler
are back in contention, which for me, I'd rather not see them. To be honest, I'd rather play the youngsters like we did last week, to be fair. But
I would rather see Ruben Colwell play as like a false 9 up front than see Robinson play again, because let's face it, he's going in the summer, particularly if the manager's still here. He doesn't. They fall out. He doesn't really want him here. There's been some incidents and whatever. But then saying that, Rob, at the start of the season, Robinson was my pick to play centre forward for Cardiff as the best finisher at the club. Wouldn't it be ironic if we're forced to play him there now and he goes and bags like a hat trick the game before the season's over?
Yeah, I mean, literally, I remember it vividly. Like you mentioned about you busting, not just yourself, mate, but loads of people were busting for Karen Robinson to play for the middle, wasted on the left wing. And to a certain extent, I agree. I think he is actually wasted on the left wing. I just think that it's just a case of man's not got no place in that club anymore, and he needs to Sergio Ramos away from the team. I'd be very surprised. I will still be even given the injuries, I'd be very surprised if he's in and around the squad come Saturday.
So I thought he wouldn't be in the squad. I didn't expect him to play again or be in the squad this year. But Matthew said in the press conference, he mentioned him by name, didn't he? And he said he's back, which to me, I think means he's probably going to play in some fashion.
I think he might be forced, considering the amount of injuries we got.
I just can't see him playing Ashford through the front, through the middle. Can you?
No,
big ass.
Not at the moment. It was a big step up for him. Making his home debut last week. Didn't look out of place at all. Thought he'd done really well, and I just hope that he starts again tomorrow, because
I think he starts tomorrow, mate. He's going to start.
How many times we've said this on previous?
I think Jeju deserves a start over him. I do. I understand people saying Jeju hasn't played well and stuff like that, but he has Jeju has, in the last game, him and Maytay did catch the eye. Yeah. And I think to bring Robinson in front of Jeju would be a bit naughty, really, because everyone knows he's fallen out with the manager and the rest of it. Jeju, if Jeju had been shite again against Southampton, then fine, maybe you've got no other option, you've got to play Robinson. But I think, in fairness, Jeju did enough to say, right, well, if you've got no strikers, there you go.
Yeah, he come on, made an impact, flying into challenges, wasn't he? And throwing his arms up in the air to try and get the crowd going. So
he linked up all right with Colwell as well.
Jeju.
I
mean, the thing is, what's quite funny about it, it's taken me all this time to learn his name.
Can you spell it? I can't still spell it.
It's died who in it. Yeah, but it's taken me all this time to learn how to say his name, and the lad's off now in a couple of weeks. Like, he ain't going back. We ain't going to sign him.
No, he hasn't done enough to get any sort of permanent deal or even be back. And I mean, we're going to have videos on the channel. We're doing a keep, sell, loan video. We're doing player rating videos. We're doing talking about a manager. We're going to have the big debate on the manager, and it's going to be interesting. They'll be coming out in the coming days and weeks as the season comes to a finish. And like, if anyone has got any suggestions for videos and stuff over the summer, or if there's particular players you'd like to see a scout report and stuff on, get them in. Always looking for suggestions. I think we're going to do a video on Cardiff's, the most aggressive players in Cardiff's history as well. So, you know, some fun ones coming. But as is tradition with these preview shows, is we have a little look at the opponents before we look at Cardiff. Middlesbrough still got plenty to play for. They were a bit unfortunate recently. They lost 4-3 to Leeds, and they made a bit of a comeback, but not quite enough of a comeback to get a point from it.
I think they started the season really well, didn't they?
Did.
I think they had a bit of a blip then where they lost quite a few games, similar to Cardiff then in a sense, where we started well and had a bit of a blip for a couple of months. But
were they in the top 6 for a while?
Yeah, they were.
I think they were doing really well.
For a long time, it looked like they were going to get in the playoffs. And now, I'm just looking now, even if they won their last 2 games, they'd only get up to 69, so they can't get to the playoffs. It's only Hull who can break into that top 6, other than the teams which are already there. So, I mean, it'll be interesting because I'd expect Middlesbrough maybe will play a couple of youngsters as well, because that's tradition, really, isn't it? Like the last couple of games, if you're safe and there's nothing to play for, blood a few youngsters. But I think Michael Carrick has done a good job, Rob. Do you reckon?
100%, mate. Massive fan. Huge fan of Michael Carrick. I know the form has not been great of late for Boro. Because I think even last season, correct me if I'm wrong, lads, but like last season when he came in originally, and I swear Boro were like teasing like the bottom half of the table, and then when he come in, like proper
steady the ship, did he? And then,
well, no, he kept them on like to literally like get close to the playoffs. I don't think they got the playoffs. I think
they finished 7th last year.
I'm sure. I don't think they actually made it in the end, but I think he's quality, mate. I do rate him massively. I thought he was a very, very quality footballer, and he's turned out to be a.
Do you think he was underrated as a footballer?
Maybe so. Because of his position, mate. Because of his position, he was massively underrated.
Not that I've got a desire to talk about England, but I mean, if you think, like, if you look back on that England midfield where they had like Scholes and Gerrard and Lampard, and like, I always think if they played Carrick or Hargreaves as like just a hold, like what a holding midfielder is today, and then played like Gerrard and Lampard or Gerrard and Scholes or whatever combination of the two in front of Carrick or Hargreaves.
Like they're doing with Declan Rice now, for example.
Would have been the perfect balance, wouldn't it? But they just couldn't get him going.
Yeah, he's quality, mate. I got a lot of time for him. By all accounts, he's a really nice lad as well.
And what's funny about it is obviously people mock Solskjaer for his time at Cardiff. Of course, he was poor. But they mock him for his time at Liverpool, at United, where he did all right for a while, at least. But his 2 assistants, Kieran McKenna and Michael Carrick, are absolutely killing it as managers. Kieran McKenna, I think, is such a good manager. He really impresses me. And same with Michael Carrick. I think, unfortunately, the bad patch that Middlesbrough had this year cost them the playoffs this year. And I think it'll be interesting how both teams approach it tomorrow, because I think traditionally Boro versus Cardiff would be quite a kind of cagey affair. But I'd like to think both teams will go, do you know what? Let's just play football. Let's just go at it. They play the same sort of system as us, that 4-2-3-1. They got some good young players with a mix of a bit of experience. I think they'll line up the same way as they went against Leeds. Maybe the Matthews will play off the left. So I think they'll go with Dieng in goal, Jugsteel at right back, Van der Berg, Clark and Thomas. and then you'll have Howson and O'Brien as the kind of double pivot or the sort of the base of that midfield with Jones, Azaz, and Silvera, the three behind Leith. But I do really like Matthews, who could also play off the left. The man to watch for me is probably Azaz, but I really like Leith, the number 9. Like, he's quite a really good striker, and I think some of these players got really bright futures in front of them. I think
Van der Berg, mate.
Yeah, it's quality, mate.
He looks, not to jump on you, mate, but a lot of people have been saying, given his Dutch heritage, he's like a young Virgil van Dijk. Like, he's only, 20?
Overrated, you mean?
Fucking hell, it's not Rhodri Giggs show, mate. We're not talking about that.
Oh, it's Liverpool, mate. Anti-Liverpool every day of the week.
No, all jokes aside, he's got a lot of talent, mate. He signed for, he came from Liverpool, didn't he? I think he did sign for Liverpool, Van der Berg. I think he's on loan at Middlesbrough. Correct me if I'm wrong in a second, but he's a very, very talented young man. I've seen a little bit of him through like youth watching academy football and things like that, and I think he's a very, very solid defender.
22
years of age.
Yeah.
He's on loan from Liverpool, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
He can play right back as well.
He's a very fast, strong centre half by trade, and I think he's got a hell of a bright future.
Which is interesting to think as well. Then that obviously one of our key players since January has been Nat Phillips.
Yeah, from Liverpool.
Was also on loan from
and
Liverpool.
Then you look at it, Liverpool are going to, like, Van Dijk's not look the same this year. I don't think he's as good as everyone says, but he is probably the best central defender in the Premier League. Yeah. But he has not looked at this year, and I think that's one of the reasons, one of the many, why Liverpool have kind of flipped and flopped. But future, they could have Van der Berg and Nat Phillips as their centre-back pairing. You never know.
So you think Nat Phillips is that good?
I do, yeah. I think he's very good, and I think the profile of player he is as well. He's good physical, he's defensively good, but he's very good on the ball as well. And I think that's the sort of thing which the Premier League clubs look at. Yeah. It's just whether they get an opportunity ultimately in it. And I think he has played for Liverpool a couple of times, though. He
made a few appearances.
So they obviously, they're having a new manager. The thing is, the new manager is going to come in. He's some Dutch guy, and like he'll come in and he'll probably bring like a centre back.
Like Ten Hag.
Yeah. He'd be out of the job in the summer. But I like Clark as well, though, mate. Next to him, I think that's a really good centre back pairing. But on that, Mav, I think realistically, that's why it's too much to expect Keane Ashford to play through the middle at this young age in the Championship versus two quality centre backs who've played all season. And I think it would be, look, if he puts him through the middle with Colwell behind him, I won't be disappointed. But I will think, that's asking a bit much.
Yeah, I think the mindset will be very much like last week. I'm hoping, where he gives the guys the freedom and kind of he took the pressure off them a bit last week by, just tell them to go out and be positive.
Yeah,
and I think that come across, being at the stadium last week, and I just hope it's the same tomorrow, really, and hopefully he can continue and flourish like he did last week. Granted, he done some things wrong, but it's just that fight and the determination that if he did lose the ball, he was working hard to fight back and track him back, and that's what I really liked. And as a Cardiff fan, I think you do take the players a lot more if you can see they got that fight and that passion for the badge.
Well, they care, isn't it? I think the thing for me, and I'll put this to both of you, is like, can you see him if now Bowler's fit? You don't like Bowler's going to come into that 11, and one way or the other.
I would hope not. I would like him to start Ashford instead of Bowler, but I think surprises me. Bowler's kind of been his go-to person. He could play
Bowler off the left, though, or Ashford off the left, because obviously Grant's out, which is normally his preferred option. Mate's out. Who else is there?
I would like to see Tanner have a go on the left, really, considering he played left back last week.
Is Collins back?
I haven't seen anything in any of the news this week.
No, me neither. So Tanner might be left back again, mate, in fairness.
Yeah.
But moving on to Cardiff, obviously coming off the back of a good result. Well, in fact, an exceptional result against Southampton. But I think it was the nature of the performance more than the result in some ways that encouraged Cardiff fans. I think there was something there where the Bulut supporters and the guys that want him to stay or can see a path that his sort of management can work. I think we saw a little bit of what could be achieved with his tactics with a better or a different type of footballer in certain positions, I guess. You know, like having a winger on that right-hand side who's going to work. Suddenly the centre forwards were working. It made a big difference. Yeah. In terms of the gun,
I was going to say, and he wasn't afraid to change it up last week because we took some people off. He put Mate out onto the right wing, and I know we talked about that in the review last week. He looked really good moving onto the right wing, and he moved Ashford over onto the left. And I think that's something we haven't done enough of through the season.
Yeah, we talked about that a lot.
Change.
Just there's no reason why, and it's particularly with Grant and Bowler, you feel like if they were to switch sides and in the game, they might get a bit more joy. I really think Bowler's got everything which you can, like everything to be a top championship winger. But I just think he'd be more suited on the left if you just said to him, go beat your man and put the ball in the box. I think that would be much more progressive and productive for him as a footballer. And look, who am I to say, like he's a professional, I'm not. But just from watching football and watching over the years and watching him, I think he's got all the attributes. Do you know he reminds me of, a bit of a random one, Andrei Kanchelskis from back in the 90s, like where he would just get the ball and his first thought was to beat the man in front of him and then have a look. And I think that's his first thing. But when he's on the right, his first thing is like cut inside and it just closes everything up. Where do you stand on Josh Bowler, mate?
Josh Bowler, I was going to, what did you say?
You just
I'm not saying anything.
No, I love Josh Bowler. No. Did you see recently that it was shared in one of our groups that me and Ainge are on, that is it Hereford Blaine Ainge, who are very, very interested in signing Josh Bowler on a free transfer come the summer.
Is he out of contract?
He's out of contract this summer. He's going to play for Nottingham Forest. It was quite an interesting article.
No, that is an interesting one, see, because I reckon.
Apparently,
I didn't know he
flourished
was free.
at Cardiff, according to Nottingham Forest headquarters, or wherever the page is, wherever we were reading. He's done a phenomenal job at Cardiff this season. Cardiff are very keen to.
That's infuriated me. That.
Yeah, I swear to God.
4 goals and 2 assists.
That is genuinely.
I will share with you later.
That's giving me anxiety. Sorry.
Literally, the Forest page. I think it was a fan page or something like that. And there was a fan page. It was the official club page, wasn't it? I think they said that Josh Bowler's had a phenomenal season. No, maybe not phenomenal, but
a good
fantastic season. Better than good.
My blood pressure is rising. Like,
well, this is the end of sight tonight. This is going to be this flower house going to be back tonight, guys.
Just about
to meet him. But no, they said he's done a great job. I feel like I've gone from like phenomenal to decent.
Yeah, he's been all right.
No, he's been shit. No joking.
Yeah.
No, he's done a decent job at Cardiff this season. He's done X, Y, and Z.
I think he has to a certain extent.
I think he's been all right.
I think he has.
Like, I don't think he's as bad as everyone says.
I've said decent job. They said much better job than what they said.
Yeah, I'm not having that.
Long story short is Hereford Blaine want him in the summer apparently on free transfer.
A free transfer is interesting to me because I think now I wouldn't sign him because I think you can get better and we've got better in the in Ashford and Tanner even I prefer, but I think Bulut would want him on a free because I think he is going to have to do a bit of wheeling and dealing. And when you look at it, if you can get someone who you trust, and he clearly trusts him, you get someone you could trust and you know what you're going to get from them. You know that their personality fits in terms of what the manager expects of him, because if he didn't have that, he wouldn't keep picking him. So I could see us going for him, unfortunately. And look, it's not against him as a person. I see a lot of positives with him. And particularly before his injury at the start of the season, I was like, oh, hello, we've got a player here. And then ever since he came back from that injury, his body language, his attitude, and his performances have just been whoop, 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 whoop all season. And I don't think you could describe
But
his season as good.
I look at it and think, is he playing the way the manager's asking him to play? We all know he's got the ability to go past and beat players, but he kind of stops and looks to pass it back in the midfield.
Well, let me ask you a question then quickly on that. So say he's doing what the manager's asking him to. The manager's letting him cheat a bit, which is, managers often say that to wingers. And this is what when people are slagging off Rashford, sometimes don't realise. Like, sometimes managers will tell those types of players not to go all the way back. They'll tell them to cheat a little bit with their tracking back. But also, if you say he's doing what he's supposed to, or what he's instructed to do, why the hell is the manager then telling our number 10 most creative player in Ruben Colwell to track back? Because that makes no sense to me if that was the case. So, look, we're going to talk about different things. We're going to also talk about keep, sign, etc. in a different video. So I want to try and keep it on point. Yeah. So with Josh Bowler, I think, look, let's be realistically, right? Errol Bullett's going to pick him if he's fit on Saturday. So if I go through the team, which I think the manager's going to pick, and then we'll kind of say what we would do. Yeah. So it's going to be Halworth in goal, unless he decides to give the young lad a go at home. I wouldn't be against that. Turner and is the keeper. I wouldn't be against that. In fact, I think Turner, because he's been there every week, because Alnwick's been out, I think giving him a game at home, last home game of the season, I wouldn't be against that at all. It's big pressure, but I mean, he's been on the bench all year. If Halworth had gone down, he'd have
Before you move on, and I'll interrupt you, do you think Jack Alnwick will put a Cardiff City shirt on again?
I think if we get an offer for him, we'll probably sell him. It's clear there's something about him that the manager doesn't like. He tried to get Runnison. We got to rate Runnison later as well. He tried to get Runnison and didn't work. And then he's gone and got an experienced championship keeper. And I think Halworth, on the whole, has been excellent. You could question his distribution sometimes, but I think he's also kept us in many games.
That game last week against Southampton, that's his best game he's had for.
But he's done that a few times.
The game before, big saves. Very poor.
Yeah, I think overall, he's been a good addition. And I think, look, if Alnwick is injured, we'd have had to put the kid in all season again. So, you probably would have needed an experienced keeper. But Jack Alnwick didn't do anything wrong in my eyes. And I think he's been probably harshly treated. Not the only one. So I think it'll be Halworth probably, but I wouldn't be against Turner. I think Romeo, if he's fit, starts. If he's not fit, I hope to see Conte, but let's go with... Right, I'll go with what I think the manager's going to go. So Romeo, Phillips, Gutas, Tanner at left back. I think then it'll be Siopis, and I think it'll be Rawls. We know who I'd prefer to be there, but I think it's going to be the manager will pick Siopis and Rawls, and then I think he goes Colwell at 10, with Ashford and Bowler as the wingers in whatever combination. And I do think he'll go with Jeju to start, which means Turnbull's on the bench, Conte's on the bench, no place for Joe Colwell. Now, if I was picking a side, I'd have Romeo and Conte as the fullbacks, first of all. I think Conte deserved to go.
Romeo on the left, is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, Conte seemed very capable with his left foot, so I wouldn't be against playing him that side if Romeo's not comfortable. I would play Siopis and Turnbull. I would play Colwell in the 10, and I would play Ashford and Tanner as the wingers. And then I think it's a toss of a coin. I wouldn't play Robinson mid because I think without kind of singling him out and being thing, like I've said before, I think some of the issues within that changing room have at least in part been to do with some of the things that he has allegedly done. So I think you don't just bring him in just because you're desperate for players. Now, for me, the manager seems to quite like Turnbull in the 10. So if we are that desperate for strikers, I'd rather put Colwell as a false 9 and have Turnbull behind him, or even put Ashford in behind Colwell, and I would work out another combination with the young players. Now, what would you do, Rob, differently to what I said that I think the manager will do? So I basically said Romeo, Phillips, Gutas, Turner, Tanner, Psyopis Rolls, basically that, but without Turnbull in that bowler and as one of the wings.
What I think the manager will do, I think you're bang on, mate. I think you're absolutely on the nose. I think that's exactly what he'll do. What I would do is keeper stay the same. Dimmy and
Nathaniel,
the legend, the centre halves.
future Cardiff City captain.
Conti, I personally go Conti right back. I'm not convinced on Romeo left back. I'd probably still go Ollie Tanner.
Interesting.
If Collins is not fit, I think.
Yeah, of course.
I haven't seen anything about Collins.
Yeah, if Collins is not fit, then yeah, I'd probably go Ollie Tanner, still left back. Agree with the centre mid with CEO and Turnbull. And then it gets interesting then, doesn't it? That this is when it becomes a problem.
So your wingers, isn't it? Would you have Ashford as on the wing or through the middle? It's a massive ask.
I can't be. Do you know what? Part of me was thinking I would just go Ashford for the middle with Ruben behind him. It's
not that difficult, really. You're not really picking a side, Mike, for tomorrow.
So it would be, I'd say Ashford's the number 9 tomorrow. Who's your wingers then? Because you said Tanner's left back. So who's your wingers going to be then? Go on.
You got me.
Well, you got a couple of the young
I'll
lads.
go Josh Bowler. I'll go Josh Bowler right.
Got Bowler. You got Louis Giles as well.
I got Josh Bowler right. And
Giles played fullback, didn't he?
Yeah.
When he come on, so you could even play Giles at fullback, I suppose, and put Tanner on the wing.
I would be inclined to go that way, if I'm honest.
What, Giles for the fullback?
Yeah, if Collins is not fit. I thought Tanner done a decent job last week.
He did get caught out of position.
He did get caught out of position.
But
I thought he'd done enough to warrant a go perhaps on the left wing. So I would kind of agree with your back, your keeper, Romeo, Phillips, Gutas. I'd give that Louis Giles a go at left back. CO and Rolls, I think he'll be in the midfield. And then Tanner on one wing, Ashford on the other wing, and Ruben, and probably Jeju for just his stint off the bench last week.
I'll forget Jeju.
No Callum Robinson from the Flower Hour boys.
No,
they hold the
he
grudge.
should wear Cardiff top again.
No,
I don't
I agree.
Cardiff top again.
I agree, and it's not a personal thing against him. I wish him well. I hope he goes on and has a very successful career. But I think it's better for all parties if he continues his career elsewhere.
Off.
Right, predictions to finish us off. What do you think the score will be?
I can't remember what I said on the Flower Hour in the week now, but I'm going to go
6-0.
I'm going to go 2-1. Ashford, and I can't remember who else I said, but I'm going to go Ashford and Colwell.
I go 3-1. I'm going. It will come in eventually. CO, Dimmy, and Ruben score for Cardiff.
I'm going 3-2 to Cardiff. I just hope to see Joel Colwell. I would love to see Joel Colwell start alongside Psyopis, but I still think it's going to happen realistically. But I would like to see him get half hour. That would be. What do
you reckon the crowd will be like tomorrow?
I'd like to think it'll be a big crowd tomorrow.
50% off tickets as well, isn't it?
Yeah, cheap for kids, and at the end of the day, it's the last home game of the season.
And
it's the last bit of football you're going to get to watch.
Middlesbrough pretty well supported travelling. I know.
They normally bring a few, don't they?
I got a question for you about the season tickets in a sec, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Go on then quickly because you can wrap us up.
All right. And what's your thoughts on that? Like the fact you obviously paid decent money for your season ticket and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And you see the kid for a quid, half price ticket tomorrow and things like that. So I put off you like at all? Do you think
No.
it bothers the fans?
What bothers me is when I go and I pay the money is the fact that I see so many empty seats. I'd rather them give them to kids' age groups or schools.
Well, I don't know why they don't just give them to schools
and fill the stadium. Really,
Yeah.
It's like I think we've said a number of times on shows in the past is, if a parent have got to take a kid into the football, they want a program or they want something from the shop or they want food or a drink.
costs money, doesn't it?
And, by half
Big money.
Yeah.
Good.
100%. Right, nice one. That's our prediction. That's our preview for the Middlesbrough versus Cardiff City tomorrow evening at 6:30. Did you say?
6:30, buddy. What's happening tomorrow evening?
Match reaction, flower hour. Hopefully, it'll be a positive result to finish the home games at Cardiff City, and then I'll be back on Sunday with 5 things. Cardiff City World, 7 days a week. Appreciate you all.
Hang on.
Big up.
Who's joining us tomorrow evening?
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
Don't you dare forget.
The Ginger Prince is on the flower hour. Mr. Andy Campbell coming to discuss Cardiff City versus Middlesbrough. Cannot wait. He's a
Looking forward to
legend.
that.
Make sure you tune in. Nice one.
Up a flower.